Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today and pushing play on today's episode. This is episode 180, and today I am chatting about something that I've actually been chatting about on social media the past 2 days. By the time this episode airs, though, it's going to be a little while, about a week. So it's going to feel like, what are you talking about? You talked about that a week ago. But I've been trying to be really succinct in my thoughts on social media, and I have more to say. I have more to say. So if you don't follow me on social media, um, that's totally understandable. I've only very recently, like in the last couple weeks, been really active on social media. So I haven't really been promoting it here on the podcast because I'm like, why would I tell people about that? Because I'm not even really over there. But I have been over there. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you some context. So I went to the dentist this week, and the hygienist asked me what I do. And so I told her that I help women establish transformational habits so that they can become who they want to become. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I need you. I have been trying to be a morning person for years, and I will do it for like a week, and I'll be really good for like a week. And then I'll stop getting up early, and then, I just feel bad about it, and then I don't try for a couple of months, and then I try again and I'm really good for like a week, and then it's just so hard. It's so hard to get up early." She's like, "I get up early for work because I have to. I'll always be on time for work, but to just get up early and to just start my day, just because is so hard." And I was like, "I get you." Like, that was my story. That was my exact story. If I had to be somewhere early, I could get up and I could be there, and that was not a problem. But getting up and starting my day on my terms, how I wanted to start it, getting up and knowing that there was nothing that was forcing me up, but it was myself propelling me up, that was really hard. So I totally felt her. I totally knew what she was talking about. What I asked her, though, was, is you getting up early, is that attached to the person you want to become? Is that attached to this vision of who it is you want to be in this world, how it is you want to show up? Is that attached to anything? And she's like, "Well, I've just always really wanted it." And we didn't really have a whole lot of time to chat because she had work to do and I wanted to get out of there. But I left there thinking, like, how often do we do this? How often do we set goals or want to establish habits because they sound good? Because, somebody else does it and it sounds impressive. It sounds like maybe that's what we should be doing. It sounds like just because they did it, and then they have these results in their lives, or in their life, or they have this kind of experience. Maybe if I adopt that habit and I have that habit, maybe I'll live a life like theirs. Maybe I'll be happy like they are. Maybe I'll do this or I'll be that or whatever. Because the habit in and of itself is actually fairly, I don't want to say meaningless because it's not meaningless, but it's not the most important piece. The habit is important as far as it gets you to who you want to become. What we actually want, what the thing is that's actually important, is who it is that we are becoming. It's what that habit means. So if we set a habit like being an early riser because it sounds impressive, because it sounds good, because other people are doing it, or that was Megan's transformational habit, so maybe that one's mine. And maybe if I become a morning person, maybe then I'll live more aligned and blah, blah, whatever. It's not actually attached to anything. It doesn't actually mean anything to you. So the same goes for goals when we set goals in our lives. And we're coming up on the end of the year here. And This is always a reflective time. This is just a natural time of reflection. And I think I'm a little bit early on that right now. I think reflection really starts to hit in November, honestly. So I think I'm a little bit ahead of that, which is fine. But we start to feel like I, like I wanted to do all these goals. I had all these goals set. I had all the best intentions. I wanted to do it. Where did the year go? Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I make myself do it? Why couldn't I just, you know, have some more discipline? Why couldn't I just push myself? Why blah, 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 whatever. But we set these goals kind of based on like sometimes what sounds good, kind of like what other people are doing, or we look at other people that we want to be like, and this is what they're doing. So maybe if we do that thing too, maybe we'll live like them, or maybe we'll be like them, or maybe whatever. But it's all on this very like, maybe if I establish this habit, if I set this goal and accomplish it, maybe I'll be that person. Maybe I'll become who I want to become. Maybe I'll live the life I want to live. You can do it that way. I think people have done it that way. I tried to do it that way. Honestly, I tried to do it that way and it did not work. It did not work. I knew, however, that like my transformational habit, I knew that by becoming an early riser, I would become the person I wanted to become. But I lacked clarity on who that person was. So even though I knew that this habit would get me there, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where there was. And so that habit wasn't anchored into anything. So it was really hard to do until I anchored it in. Then once I anchored it in, it became less about the habit and more about becoming, because that's what it's about anyway. Same with setting goals. We want the goals, we want to do the thing because it means something about us, because it helps us become a person, because it helps us live the way we want to live and be who it is we want to be. But if we're missing this critical piece of knowing who it is we want to be and who it is we want to become, the goals, the habits, those things, they aren't anchored into anything. They're just anchored into this like hope of, I hope it works. I hope this gets me there. And maybe it will, but the likelihood of it happening is not high. And the other side of that is when you set these goals in the hopes of, becoming this amorphous version of you that you haven't clearly defined, it's really hard to be consistent. It's really hard to push yourself through the hard times. It's hard to be disciplined. It's really hard to reach those goals because they aren't, like I said, anchored into anything. So the starting point is deciding on who it is you want to become, gaining clarity on who this version of you is, having this vision of yourself, and then establishing the habits and setting the goals in line with that. And I would use the word aligned with that, so that you know that as you engage in that habit, as you work towards those goals, they are progressively getting you to where you want to be, to who you want to become. Because like I said, that's the whole point anyway. We want to become someone. We want to, be the kind of person that has this achievement or has this kind of life or has this kind of experience or whatever it is. The whole point is becoming. So as I was thinking about this morning, I'm like, how can I really illustrate? I get it. I so get it. I so get it, because I've told you, I have tried for over a decade to establish my morning routine, my morning habit. And I shared about my journals on social media yesterday, so you should scroll through and find that. I have journals from all the way back to 2014 to now. And I happened to flip through one that was from 2017, and in it was a page where I listed out like this morning schedule, and it started at 5 a.m. Maybe it started at 6. I think it started at 5. Anyway, it's evidence that back in 2017, I made an effort at some point to establish a morning routine. And I know it didn't happen because it never happened. I never followed through. I mean, I would do it for a few days or maybe a week or maybe even 2 weeks, but it never really happened. Because even though I knew it was important for me, it wasn't anchored into this clear vision of who I wanted to become. I was missing that piece. So I get that. I get setting the goal and not achieving it. I have planners. I've had a planner every year for a very long time. And every single year I set goals. And every single year I have largely not reached them. I mean, I might reach a few. I usually always reach a handful, but I mostly I don't. And so as I was thinking about this morning, always wanting to be real and genuine with you, like, because that's just me, I was like, okay, well, let's look at this year. How am I doing? I set 14 goals for this year, back in December. I did it in December last year. I set 14 goals for this year, and some of them are like big goals that I knew would take me all year or most of the year. And some of them were like, if I just schedule it, I could get it done. Really, that simple. If I just schedule it, I could get it done. That simple. So I was like, okay, where am I at? Number one, I think it's hilarious that I even had to like go check, because there are a few goals that were on my heart and on my mind that I have been consistently working towards. Like, I could have told you before I even checked what I had written down, I could have told you, oh yes, this is a goal I've been working on all year long. This, and this. Like, these are things that are in my head every day. I'm actively working towards them. I am building towards them. So right there is an indicator, and I'll go more into that indicator in a minute, but let me go into these numbers. So 14 goals, right? I am on track to complete 4. I am on track to reach 4 of those 14. 3 of them are still possible. Those 3 are like if I just schedule it, I could do it. 3 of them are still possible. The other 7, I have straight up abandoned. I've just abandoned them. And here's why. Even though I implemented my transformational habit, anchored it into this clear version of who it is I wanted to become, and I did that last year, that the clarity on that vision became so much stronger throughout this year and so much more clear. So as I got super clear on who it is I wanted to become, my goals either fell in line and aligned with that version of who I wanted to become, or they didn't. So the 4 that I could have told you, like, yeah, I know I wrote this down, this and this, those are the 4 that were still aligned with who it is I wanted to become. So those are the 4 that I have found the energy and the ability and the discipline and the consistency and everything that I needed to have in order to keep on track with those 4, in order to keep moving towards those 4. The 7 that I probably couldn't even have told you before I looked, those are the 7 that I was like, yeah, they don't even fit anymore. They don't even fit who it is I want to become anymore. So I'm not going to put any energy or any focus or anything behind those things, because they're not aligned with this clear vision that I have for myself. So they don't even matter, because They don't. And I feel no pressure to complete the even work towards those 7 because I know they're not going to get me to where I want to go. I know they're not going to build me up to who I want to become, so they don't matter. So I can let those go. So here's the really interesting thing. When I go this year to set goals for 2026, I get to do it from this super clear place on who it is I want to become. And then I get to set goals that are aligned with that vision, with that person that I want to become. And that's how you anchor in your goals. That's how you anchor in your goals to be something that you actually just accomplish just by becoming who it is you want to become. Because, like I said, the whole point is becoming. The whole point is becoming. The whole point is becoming. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the habits, the goals, all of it. It's all about becoming. So if you don't know who it is you want to become, your habits and your goals aren't going to be anchored into anything. They're going to be very hard to accomplish. They're not going to be fun. You're going to feel like crap every time that you don't follow through or you fail or you have another unchecked off goal because they don't mean that much to you. And if they don't mean that much to you, then yeah, it's going to be way easier to sit in bed and play Zelda than it is to actually go do the work. I'm actually not tempted to play Zelda right now because I beat it already, but right now it's No Man's Sky, which is super fun. But really, it'll be so much easier to do anything else than to work on goals that aren't aligned with who it is you want to become. That's why we fail at habits, because they're not anchored into anything, because we don't actually care. Deep down, we don't actually care because having that, like, maybe it'll get me to who I want to be isn't enough. That's not enough. If you know for certain, if I do this and I keep doing this, it will turn me into who I want to become, you are going to be way more motivated to actually do the thing. And it'll be this intrinsic motivation. It won't be like this outward pressure, like I got to do it because I said I was going to do it. It'll be like this, I need to do it because I want to be that person. So because I want to be that person, I want to do this thing because it turns me into that person. And that's really important to me. Do you see how that works? Do you see why I'm so lit up about establishing a transformational habit? Because it has that kind of power, that becoming power. And so many of us, I've talked to so many people, they have no idea who they want to become. They have no idea. They have less clarity than 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 they need, honestly. So you have to get clear on who it is you want to become, and that's a process. It's it's a process, because as you start to get clear on who it is you want to become, you get bombarded. You get bombarded with fears and doubts and thoughts like, is that even possible for me? Can I even accomplish that? Is that even something I can do? And you're just like, you've got all of these doubts, all of these fears in your face, and they can put a wet blanket on the whole fire of becoming who it is you want to become, because you're freaked out. Your subconscious is freaking you out with all of these, like, well, who are you to do that? And is that even possible? And you blah, 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 all of this, all the drama piles on top of you. So we have to work through that too. That's part of the work. You get clear, and then you deal with all the drama that comes up, all of the doubts and the fears and the things that come up that say you can't do it, you can't be it, you can't live that way. You have to deal with that as you get clear, and continually so. So in the transformational habit, we start with the pre-work of, I give you some tools to fight off all of that drama before it hits so that when it hits, you know how to handle it a little bit. And then we go into week 1 where we get really clear on who it is you want to become. And then we handle the drama again and on we go. But what I want you to know is that this is where it starts. If you continually don't reach your goals, if you continually struggle with implementing habits, it's because they're not anchored into anything. That is why. It's not because you don't have enough discipline. It's not because you don't have enough commitment. It's not because you're broken or lazy or whatever. It's because it's not anchored into anything meaningful. It has to be anchored into something meaningful. And then you will just propel forward. It's just inevitable. You'll just do it because you want to become that person. So by the time this episode airs, you can still get in on the pre-work and week 1 for free. If, let's see, on September 22nd, that is week 1. The week 1 training will drop on September 22nd. And so you can still join for free all the way through that week. I should have pulled up dates, but I didn't. I'll have all of the dates in the show notes. If you miss it and you're listening to this like a month later, get on the wait list for the next round. Get on the wait list so that when I open up pre-work again, you can jump in on that pre-work and you can go ahead and get started on that pre-work. And then you're there for week 1 and then we can continue on. But if you want to be someone, if there's something that you want to accomplish, if there's a habit, if there's some way you want to live, this habit is your bridge. It's your bridge to all of it. It's the clarity, though, that makes the huge difference. And it's that clarity that so many of us are lacking. So you need that clarity. You need to know who it is that you're going to become. And you have to deal with all of the thoughts and the fears and the doubts that tell you that you can't become that person. Because ultimately, all of those thoughts and doubts and fears, they're all bullcrap, honestly. They're all lies. They're all lies that you're believing about yourself and what you're capable of. And I'm here to believe in you because I know you are capable. I know that that's just crap we have to work through, and it's work throughable because I have had all that crap. I still have all of that crap. And I still work through it every day. Okay, maybe not every day, but some days are better than others. Some days are like super hard and it's like, why do I have all of this going on? I do not want to deal with all of it, but I have to because I want to get through to the other side. And it's so much more fun to believe in yourself. It's so much more fun to go after what it is that you want. But in order to go after what it is that you want, you have to believe that it's possible. And so you have to get there as well. There's so much to do. There's so much to do. You have to do all of it now. I'm just kidding. It's a step-by-step process. It's a gradual process, which is why the transformational habit is 12 weeks long. I tried to shorten it. I really did. I was like, no one wants to join a 12-week-long program. But the thing is I wanted you to leave the program with an established habit and crystal clear clarity on who it is you are becoming. And that just takes time. It just takes time. I didn't want to leave you high and dry in the middle of this process. I wanted to get you all the way through it. And it takes 66 days to establish a habit. And it takes a couple of weeks to get clear on who you are or who you want to be, who you want to become. And that's just part of it. So that's what it is. That's what it is. And there's a reason that it's not this self, what do they call it? It's like do it on your own pace course. It's not a self-paced course. I'm right there with you because the guidance is a little critical. The support is a little critical. The encouragement is a little critical. I'm right there with you. It's not self-paced. It is I'm with you. I'm helping you. I want to guide you along each step. I want to be there for you. I don't want to just leave you there and like cross fingers that maybe you'll do it because I will be there holding you accountable. Because if you were going to do it, you would have done it. Anyways, that's what I have for you today. Get crystal clear on who it is you want to become. Let go of whatever you need to let go of that is not going to get you there, and put your whole heart and soul into what will get you there. I totally believe in you, and I totally love you. Bye for now.